let's start our meetup. Hello, everyone. We are starting our meetup, Morning Coffee with Experts meetup, where if you have an obsessive desire to ask, but don't have a chance to ask, now you do. So today's experts is Katsiaryna Frantskevitch, QA architect, and Anton Shapin is a solution architect in test automation. Katsiaryna, Anton, thank you for coming. By the way, do you have your morning coffee with you?
Yes.
Yes. So since we have our experts on the different sides of the globe, this coffee is morning only for one of you, for Anton. Sorry, Katsiaryna, we tried to manage to make morning coffee for both of you, but unfortunately failed. So. A small announcement on the format we will follow. So I have my questions to our experts, and guys, if you are from audience, so if you come up with your questions, please write it down in chat, and after my questions I ask yours. So this is simple. Or let you unmute your microphone and ask by yourself. So no questions on it. Okay, let's proceed from my question. And before we start, I have a special question dedicated to Katsiaryna. And I kindly ask you to answer honestly and wisely, because depending on your answer, maybe my fate or fate of the people from audience depend and could dramatically change. So in your bio that I read before the session, I read that you are the proud owner of the 2 horses. So here's the question. Is the horses were granted to you for the promotion to the QA architect? Or it's maybe a kind of benefit that every QA architect get for playing that kind of role? This is very important for me.
It's such a good question. Stop laughing. I wish it would, but unfortunately, I bought it from myself. So, but yeah, we can decide for the future, our graduates from the quality architecture schools, that we can probably make some changes in the benefits.
Yeah, it would be a fantastic motivation for people. So you've been promoted to QA architect, and here is your horse, or maybe even 2, for ordinary tasks and for special tasks. Okay, black and white. Okay, let's let's get serious a bit. But come on, horses are this is fantastic. So let's proceed to the topic that we are all come together here. Recently at EPAM, or maybe not so recently, but not so long time ago, 2 new titles were added and announced and emerged to the existed one solution architect title. 2 more have been added. So QA architect and solution architect in test automation. As for me, I intuitively understand what regular solution architect do, but how can you just explain how do you differentiate yourself from ordinary solution architect? What difference between you and what you are doing and again ordinary solution architect? Who start? Who will be the first? Anton? Let's.
Okay. So it's a really interesting question, and sometimes it's not so clear what is the really major difference between such 2 titles. As for me, what I can feel, what is the main difference is that quality architect, it's a person who probably more experience to build quality assurance expertise in the company, in the whole company. I mean that processes, which type of verification we need, and other stuff, and prepared such documentation, and also control that it's just all processes works as expected. Solution architect, it's just more about maybe technical stuff, because when we have all processes in place and we understood which type of test we have to implement, solution architects are going to this solution how we can implement such thing. What is the structure? What is our architecture of our test automation infrastructure, and so on. And it's just more about a little bit more technical position and more technical responsibility.
Katerina, agree, disagree, something to add?
Yeah, to totally agree. Probably something to add that like general solution architect, I mean in development, can tell me what is the architecture would be for the application, and I would agree. But if they're trying to tell me how we should test it, no. So it's on our side to decide all the processes, how we incorporate our test SDLC and usual SDLC and all this stuff. And probably in addition, I don't know how about solution architect and test automation or general, but for me, I'm kind of like senior PowerPoint developer. So I can draw any processes like in beautiful pictures, so everybody can understand what we're going to build from the testing perspective.
Okay, so let's move right after you said senior PowerPoint specialist. Let's move to my next question about that. So how does the typical day looks like for you? So let's talk about your, let's say, day-to-day business. So what tasks do you generally have to resolve and to address? Maybe let's start from Katerina that time.
Yeah, I already partially answered, but you know, usual activities for quality architects, there depends on the assignment. We have two ways. Sometimes they're mixed. First way is you're dedicated to test competency, and you can do 3 different activities. First one is pre-sales, which means crafting the PowerPoint presentation. I'm just joking. It's like huge building proposal to the customer, how we can build, testing, etc. Blah blah blah. But yeah, it's consultancy and audit. For consultancy, it's the same, but in different documents. And for audits, it's like, I don't know, process of assessment of the quality on the project and proposing the improvement plan. So it's the one way. Another way, you can also be assigned on the real billable project, and you can work as a test manager, test lead, or even quality architect, like it's a separate position. During this, you're more focused on the project activities. So you're building test strategy, test processes, establishing test data environments, and etc. So it's like more usual task.
Okay. So Anton, how it is going your ordinary day? So what?
Well, probably absolutely the same as Katerina mentioned. Only maybe difference is that, for example, right now I am dedicated on one project, and probably in my responsibilities right now it's just to solve a really complex issues on customer side, because there are a lot of legacy code, and there are a lot of tests, and as a result we have a lot of issues with such test automation, test infrastructure, and processes itself. And also I'm involved to improve all such stuff. And it's just my typical day.
By the way, so as far as I understand Katerina, she is mainly focused on making some PowerPoint stuff, right? So you propose some idea and convert them into PowerPoint. So do I understand you that you are doing pretty the same, or maybe you no.
Right now, I do PowerPoint not so often, because I'm probably focusing on really solving some major and complex issues on customer side. And I'm preparing POCs. Yes, I'm preparing presentation, or maybe some documents or diagrams to explain how it should work. And together we discuss with customer and just decide what we are going to do. Or, for example, sometimes I should implement what I suggested, unfortunately, because due to some demand for the staff, and I proposed, and sometimes pretty often I also implemented this solution. Or, for example, implemented such integration.
So yeah.
Katsiaryna, do you do automation as well?
Yes. Currently, I'm building the test automation framework on my project from some template that was proposed to us. So yeah, and even sometimes I'm writing the automated tests. So it depends.
Okay. So this is was my next question about. So both of you in your past were test automation engineers, but eventually you became different types of architects. So why did you choose to become that you are now?
No, let me just answer maybe from my side. So I have two reasons. First reason is that before my relocation to United States, I also was involved in such kind of activities like for preparing POC and just to prepare the solution. And for me, when this title was only introduced, for me it was pretty interesting just to understood what exactly does it mean to be a solution architect in test automation. And the second part, unfortunately, it was just pretty common part. When I was in process for green card, our relocation department told me that if I will get promotion for solution architect, then my case will be closed maybe shortly. For example, if I will be proceed as a chief, then chief it's a not so open position in companies, and probably a delay will be just in 4 months. And I decided to promote it to solution architect. That's it.
Let me ask additional question. Sorry, Katsiaryna, we will get back to you shortly. So you were a chief automation engineer. So to be honest, I never quite understood what the chief automation engineer do on the project. So do you have, I mean, in your regular daily activities, do you have now something different when you have become a solution architect rather than you were a chief?
Be honestly, I think no, because for me, I'm working for one customer already for 4 years, and probably I have participated in different streams, but be honestly, my responsibility wasn't changed dramatically because chief test automation engineers will look into responsibility and what this guy should be able to do. It's probably similar to solution architect in test automation. The difference probably might be only in one thing, that chief it's just more technical guy than solution architect.
Okay, get back to Katsiaryna. So why have you decided to become a QA architect rather than a solution one?
There's probably two answers to this. First one, I was deciding on my growing path and being some test manager or whatever. And then this quality architecture title appeared, and my colleague Svetlana, who is responsible for building this quality architecture school, she asked me if I want to join the school to try and to find out what's going on. So I just said yes because it was interesting. And if choosing between solution architect in test automation and quality architect, I'm less technical person that I wish I could. And I do like drawing some processes and schemas, so it's ideal position for me. So I can manage between technical stuff and this like artist.
Okay. Well, you all look like an artist, a very attractive person, I suppose.
Thank you.
The same as Anton do, but you are the finest one. Okay, so let's step back to the topic that Anton already touched a bit. Let's talk about legacy project. For me, this is a very challenging question. So, if you encountered such a project with lots of legacy code, lots of flaky tests, unstable, unclear processes, and so on and so forth. So, in that case, what would you prefer? I understand that this is a very common question, but give me some your preferable approach. What would you recommend? Start everything from the scratch, or gradually transform the existing solution to the state you would prefer to have on the project according to the best practices we know now. Anton, let's start from you.
In my opinion, it just depends. Probably what you should understand, it's how big your project. Because let's say if it's just small project, for example, just really it's a small project, okay, we can do it from scratch and probably it might be more efficiency. And for example, our ROE will be just really great. But if we have a big legacy project, for example, which developed for 10 years already or maybe more, then it's not so easy to just move it from scratch, because you will have a really huge risk when you can miss some functionality, miss some verifications and other stuff. And unfortunately, it's too pricey for customers because it's just really huge amount of work. It's not 1 month, and really for customer, it's a huge investments. And you also have to somehow to prove that such investments will be good for the customer. Sometimes it's not easy. So in part of our time, economic reasons and so on, we should really have a strong argument why we need it. And probably I think that in most cases, if we face such kind of project, we should have the skills to understand the shortest path of transformation, existing system, existing processes, and existing tools to be more efficient. And it's really sometimes it's not so easy, because I think all of us know about such issues like technical issue, sometimes political games on customer side, sometimes maybe engineers from customer side are not ready for major changes or maybe changes for the tool. And also I have examples on my project right now. And really we should take into account a lot of, I don't know, items to take a final decision. But finally, I think that if it's a big project, it's big legacy, we just need to find a way how to transform it.
So you don't like to risk and start your life from the blank page?
If it's a reasonable risk, yes, we can. But we should always understood what will be good for customer and good for our company. Because if you have a huge risk, for example, and we miss something, it might be also not good for EPAM itself. And it means that we just need to play with such thing and understood maybe what we can do, or maybe we can propose approach just to move to the new processes or tools step by step. And there are several strategies how we can do that. It's not just we can tell customers that, okay, it's in trash and we should just implement a new one. No, sometimes it not work.
This is why I ask that. Very, very simple. So not so long time ago, I was assigned to the new project, new old project, and I found that this is the same project that I was working 10 years ago when I started my career in EPAM. And guess what? I found my code written on a very old-fashioned and absolutely obsolete technologies in there. So, and even when we created it, it was, very close to become obsolete, right, and not supported, and they still use this tool. So my question about, so would you prefer to keep old, obsolete, not supported tooling, or by in any case somehow upgrade them to the recent all the solution to the recent technologies? So from the first part of your answer, I would understand that no, you would prefer to keep everything in place. But could you
not like that. Again, it depends on situation. It depends on which resources we have. Because, for example, right now in my project, we don't have free resources to doing such migration job. Unfortunately, it's just sometimes in a time of massive layoffs, for example, in the United States, in IT sector, unfortunately, we don't have enough resources to proceed with implementation something from scratch. But as I mentioned before, we have several strategies how we can do that. And one of the strategies might be, for instance, we just freeze the code, what we have and what is right now it's working. For example, in your situation, for example, you freeze your code, which right now it's do some job. And probably during your sprints, scrums, and also if you have some piece of time, or for example, you can just divide 10% of your time just to start implementation, new test automation framework. And for example, all new stuff will be in new framework. And if when you have a time, for example, 10% of your time, you proceed with such migration. It's just one of the approach. But again, it depends on every situation, because again, just example from my experience, the customer would like to merge some old test in some new infrastructure which I prepared, and I spent for that maybe almost 5 months. And after that, some another contractor engineers wasn't ready to use such changes and keep use old one. Why I wasted 5 months? I don't know.
Katsiaryna, I suppose you completely support everything what Anton saying, but if you have any additional examples or opinion, please share.
Yeah, I totally agree. But after you said that you just saw your code from like really early experience, I thought that probably if I faced with this situation, I just would overwrite it overnight so nobody can see it. Because yeah,
Well, it's so much memories, good memories. So I wouldn't erase that at all. I would prefer to keep it for the history at least. Maybe
you can
comment it out.
keep it locally, yeah, because
yes. Well, I was 10 years younger, right? It was a completely different life. So when you
can
see your
relate.
quote, you just Okay, let's
Yeah, but
move
totally agree with
forward.
Anton.
Okay, let's move forward. So let's talk about hot topics that I can't help but ask about. Large language models and ChatGPT in particular. Have you already started to using them? And if yes, so can you just describe how? Let's start from Katsiaryna, since.
You know, I already told that I'm not as technical person as I wish. So using ChatGPT where it's possible and where it's not forbidden, because everybody should know that on some projects and usually for production code, it's like strictly forbidden if not installed on the customer side. But if I need something, I just using it like on a daily basis, you know.
Uh-huh. So it's like a kind of advisor for you, right? So you just ask, get kind of consultation. Can you? I mean, for my experience tells me that if ChatGPT don't know the exact answer or maybe not familiar with something, it starts to hallucinate. Can you see this hallucination and have you faced such situation with it?
I don't know the like really example of this hallucination, but I stuck some time ago. I stuck with the ChatGPT, like answering one question in different ways, and it were just responding with two answers in a row. So like just switching between them, and nothing helps. So it's like. I was decided to try to do it by my own, unfortunately, but yeah, it was some glitch, so it just responded to possible options and nothing else.
Anton, have you already using?
Yeah, I try to play with such tools, and probably I'm using Copilot, but I don't like it because I really don't see any profits for developers, because not sometimes, pretty often, maybe in 90% or 95%, it generates not good code or suggested code. Or, for example, sometimes it can generate a code and you will try to understand what this is about, because really sometimes it's pretty hard to understand, and style of code also in most cases it's not good. For example, in my case, the pass rate of suggestion in Copilot maybe 5% or maybe 6%. And it's enterprise subscription. Our customer bought enterprise subscription for Copilot, and probably I don't see a lot of profits, because also I discussed with our developers who works on our project, and they also told me that in most cases it's just much faster to write code by yourself than to use a Copilot.
And so you are quite pessimistic regarding large language model.
No. Let's see. I'm from QA, and I'm tested such solution. I'm trying to find in which cases we can apply such thinking, how we can use it. Because also maybe you know that Copilot also has a chat like a ChatGPT. For example, if you install Visual Studio and you have enterprise subscription, you will have the same chat as a ChatGPT, and you can use it for your code without any issues, and your data will not be shared with someone else. And the Copilot chat, it's just not so good, for example, like ChatGPT. ChatGPT I play for my non-working activities, and what I realized is that I'm start to use a ChatGPT probably mostly for like a Google, just for search, not for code generation, because I don't interested in such thing, but probably I use it for Google. For example, if I don't know some some things or some definition, I can just ask ChatGPT, and yes, it could suggest the right definition, and okay, I just reduce the time to be involved into new domain. And really, because, for example, it's just really good tool. For example, when because on my project I have a situation when I had to be familiar with Node.js in few days, and it was a challenge. And Node.js is a good language, but there are pitfalls to using such Node.js tools. And probably when I ask basic things about this language, ChatGPT could help me. But again, we should understand that all such big language models, there is one major issue with such things. It's just they train it on data from 2021 or 2022. And it's not correlated to what we have right now. For example, I tested with to generate a report portal client to start a runner and stop it, just some things I just played. And I realized that ChatGPT, for example, gave me a solution based on documentation from 2021. But since then, the spec was dramatically changed. And also, it's just probably most the ChatGPT also answer in such way for most of technical task regarding code generation, and it's a big issue, and we should understand that. But train such big language model is we just need to be very, very, very rich company to do such infrastructure because it's a very expensive. And probably I like how we use AI, for example, in the report portal to, for example, analyze our test results. It's really good. Or, for example, also another our open source project at EPAM, for example, to fix a locator in runtime and also proceed with reporting after test execution for UI test. I also think it's a great thing because it's really reduce our time for investigation or to fix and so on. And really, I like such tool. But about production using such tools, maybe in future, yes, it's absolutely our future. We have a really big step, and for example, in January with ChatGPT, it's a really big step. But in production, we need to wait maybe a few of the steps, because right now it's just pretty expensive to train your own model.
Okay, let me to summarize this discussion. Let me ask you, maybe it's kind of inappropriate, but let me ask you the exact question that I would prefer to have an exact answer. Do you both think that ChatGPT is a kind of game-changing technology, and it's a kind of new electricity for let's say for our industry, for test automation, for IT? Agree? Disagree?
I don't think so. I disagree.
You don't think? Katsiaryna?
So from my point of view, not the ChatGPT itself, but all this stuff with ML/AI, it's definitely game-changing, but not the electricity. It's like a new tool that we should learn how to use. So it's a great tool with a lot of opportunities, but it's really like learning new development language or new testing tool. We should allocate some resources from our side to start using it properly. So it's not that easy how it's sale.
Okay,
yeah,
so you both don't afraid to be let's say to be replaced by the large language model trained to be a solution architect. Do you?
No,
as soon as
okay, Katsiaryna, let's start from you.
Yeah, as soon as our customers can provide clear requirements, they can replace us. But if you've seen this, let me know.
Okay, but I mean, the benefit of the large language model or to in any to the machine learning technologies is that they pointed just to find the hidden dependencies and unclear requirements. So this is when you say give me exact requirements, this is the problem that machine learning solves. So if you don't have such, it gives you most probable answer, even if the requirements are not clear. But okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the another modern and hot topics that we have at least in my mind. So let's touch AR, VR, metaverse, and all of those stuff. So first of all, do we have already such projects in EPAM? And do you see how your skills could be applicable in that area?
I know that we have a project and we have departments who work with such technologies, and also I know that they also have a QAs to verify it, and there is no issue here. It's just like a game. It's just probably it's just similar like a game QA, and but with some specific, and probably it's just we already have at EPAM such thing, and if I'm not mistaken, we also have presentation with such department on one of our conference in St. Petersburg, maybe 5 or 8 years ago, and since then I think it's just only improved, and yeah, it's already our days, and I think there is no issue.
But you haven't you still don't have experience in working on that kind of project.
Yeah, because it's not so general, and there are many specific of such project, because as a QA you should be aware about many stuff regarding to VR, and it's just not only from technical perspective, it's about physiologically of human people. It's just not a joke, it's a really thing, and guys from our department told me that it's pretty important, because if person doesn't ready to be to see such stuff, or for example for children, it might be too dangerous. It's just maybe very too dangerous.
Katsiaryna, what about you? Agree? Disagree?
I agree that it's really specific stuff, and it's like driven by separated people who was studied how to do this. But I've checked some days ago. I've checked our testing capabilities, and yeah, they have a process how to test it with some differences, and no, I don't have such experience yet.
Yeah, I'm just a bit shocked about Anton answers. He is exactly the first person who told that this technology could be dangerous. So I haven't heard about that for ages since the Matrix movie has been released. So in there it was dangerous, but since then I thought it's quite safe.
No, it's if you read guys from our departments told me that it's not recommended to use VR, for example, for children under 12, because the brain doesn't ready for that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and also yeah, because really a lot of such thing, because it's just replace your reality, and you can program to VR to show anything.
But this is the thing that intended to do so. So this is the whole point of that stuff, just to replace your reality with the metaverse one.
but children doesn't ready for that, and also, for example, in my example, or in my case, for example, I have 2 daughters, and yeah, I can bought such Meta VR or something like that, but I don't want, because really it's a little bit tricky. I remember my feelings when I use VR and the guys proceed with some presentation to me, and really I don't want to. I decided to wait for my children, or for example, while they will be 12 years old, and after that I will take a look.
Okay. So I have no more questions prepared for you. So let's ask our audience. So guys, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, and I'll let you give you a chance to ask, or maybe write down your questions to our experts in chat. Yeah, Natalia, please.
Hi guys. Yes. I'm interested. Do you usually have to combine your roles, billable assignments and non-billable activities, like all the rest of the activities? And I'm interested how you do this, and if you have any maybe tips and tricks how to combine and not burn out.
It's for example, I'm participated in as a committee head for assessment for maybe 8 years already as a committee head, and from time to time it might be a huge amount of requests, sometimes it might be nothing, but for me it's just much easier if I define the process for myself and I follow this process. It might be just a little bit easy to do such work, because I have my schedule, and I just for myself I define the process, some schedule, what thing I do in which time, and I try to follow this approach, and it's helped to me.
You are a very organized person. What about you, Katerina? How do you combine?
From my side, the same, because it was sometimes when I was on the billable position on the project, and we had like huge pre-sale or some consultancy stuff, and you're really burning because it's a lot of information changes in your mind. And I decided just to divide my calendar, so I allocate some time for like TCC activities and other part of time for my project activities, and I respect my like work-life balance, how it sound, but yeah, I trying to make some breaks, and trying to close my laptop like at the finish of the work day.
But what if some kind of serious person come to you and ask you, could you please add this two tasks in your scope for that week? And you understand, if you understand that your capacity is absolutely full, what would you recommend people to ask in that case for that person?
It's not about the serious person coming, it's about how I see the priority of the task. Usually you're just saying, here is my list and I don't have capacity, but you can reprioritize some previous tasks if you want this to be done urgent. So it's just about this. You shouldn't take more if you have full capacity. It's like the best way to reduce the quality on the project or on your processes, because if you are taking more, they will give you more, and there is no end.
Okay, Anton.
And also I would like to add is that maybe what also helps to not burn out, it's just to have some kind of hobby which can help you to switch you. For example, for me, it's just I found the two ways. It's just motorcycle. I have a motorcycle, and if I really had a hard day, I just sit on my motorcycle and ride for maybe 2 hours, and it helped me to switch my mind. And also, for example, during the winter season, I also realized last year that for me, I can take a day off just to go to mountain ski, and it's also helped me to switch my mind, to switch my brain. And after that, I can also continue to work with a really big amount of tasks.
It seems that I found something common for both of you. So both of you are both doing riding, horses, bikes. I mean, do I understand right that all architects do riding, not only taxi riding, maybe it's on. It's very I'm quite interested in that. Okay, let's find out it later. Ivan, you are the next. Oh, Ivan disappeared.
Do you hear me well?
Yeah.
I'm returning.
Yeah.
Hi, colleagues. Glad to see you. Especially, I want to say thank you to Anton. Glad to see you because I want to express my gratitude to you that you highly influence on my career path. Thank you for showing Spring framework in test automation, and I widely use it on my current project and sharing your insights about test automation framework structure. And now my question for all of you, it's connected with test automation metrics on the project. Currently, everything goes smoothly. Not so many bugs on the project. Good feedback from customer. Regression test execution is pretty stable. It's pretty always green. So I don't have much incentives to track metrics because everything goes smoothly. And my question to you, what pitfalls waiting for me in the future for ignoring tracking metrics so precisely, besides test coverage and looking that regression is green?
Are you sure, for example, one of the probably issue is that your regression is green, but is it really green? For example, I mean that it's a question how you will prove to customers that your test automation framework doesn't have a bugs. Or, for example, it's just pretty dangerous if you test always green. Probably, in this situation, I will feel myself uncomfortable, and I will try to understand, is it really good, or maybe my test automation have a bug. And probably in this case, I will, for myself, maybe in non-project time, I will just take a look in mutation testing and also try to think how I can proceed with mutation testing just to find, do we really don't have any bugs in our test automation framework? And because it's really important.
Not really. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
We not really don't have a bugs. We catch some issues. Most of the issues were catched by manual team, and we fixed numerous of issue during sprint development, during common development, and for release we make pretty polished product, and that is as a result, all tests are fast, and manual regression also passed successfully. So I'm thinking about introducing some metrics like bug containment, but it's always should be shown that we don't have much bugs and so. So my question about introducing enhanced additional metrics on the project.
Do you mean that what metrics would you recommend to introduce in such case to the customer?
And Nginx assessment on the project recommend to introduce various metrics, but to introducing these metrics requires additional efforts of collecting and analyzing. But at my current point, I didn't see value of this metric because everything goes smoothly.
Okay.
And,
okay,
yeah.
I got Ivan. I got your point, Ivan. I can tell you that the metrics probably you have to collect. Yes, you might be not understand why you need it right now, but this metrics helps you to understand they will very helpful in future, because in any cases when you will try to prove for your customers that your test automation is successful, it's just will be benefit for you because you will have a data for analyzing. If something go wrong, for example, with your project right now, you maybe don't expect that it might be, but we have a risk such thing. It also will be helpful to understand why it's happened and what is the reason of that. Moreover, for example, for team coordination, it's always useful to have not a big amount of metrics, but necessary metrics to be able to track where we are. Because sometimes, unfortunately, some more degradation of our efficiency might be just increased a little bit, but you should track what is going on. And to doing that, you should have some metrics to be able to check it.
As far as I understood Ivan questions, so what metrics would you recommend?
As I understood, he already have some list of metrics for which was recommended by Nginx or something like that. And it's only Ivan don't understand why they need to track it if right now all is going smoothly.
Yeah, I already can show that. Look at our Jira. We don't have product bugs or only one bug per 3 months, and tests are green. So why should I collect so complicated metrics?
Let me step in here because I'm really familiar with Nginx assessment, and probably I could suggest one thing from our quality architecture side as maybe you will contact me or someone from our side and pass the rapid assessment, which is focused on the testing, and we can define which metrics you really need and for which reasons and make some suggestions. And also, from what I heard from the list of metrics that you shared, you don't have the metric which calculates how many time you spent on the framework maintenance. And it could be crucial because when frameworks are growing, they became like hardly maintainable sometime because we're building there fastly. And this metric probably will help to avoid the situation where the framework becomes monstrous and unmaintainable in the future. So yeah, at least one more.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for insight.
Okay. Sergey.
Hello, colleagues. Thank you, Alexei. First of all, I also wanted to say a big thank you to Anton because I started as a manual QA in EPAM 4 years ago, and when I went to production, I immediately took an automation course, and there were your lections, Introduction to Automation, and there were a lot of amazing, interesting ideas that you shared, like you stepped on the new project and all tests were green, and you reverse all assertions and everything still was green. And a lot of such ideas. So you inspired me a lot. Thank you. And the question is, I know that you have another skill, performance testing, and
Yes.
and it is a different profession. And the question is, how does this path look like to sell your skills to the customer, like two different professions, automation engineer and at the same time performance tester? How does this look like on practice? Thank you.
Well, my customer is happy to have such engineers, what I can tell, because my skills in performance verification, my customer right now use me in different ways, as I told before, and one of my near tasks, it's just migration to private cloud, all performance infrastructure, and it will be just also changed. But anyway, also from performance perspective, it's in my opinion, the basic knowledge of performance testing should know every software development engineers in test, because for example, in case of working with automated test, very often you can see that your test became slowed down. And if you told about UI test, okay, it's understandable that we have a browser and all other stuff related to that. But with API test, also might be such issue, and you should understand how to investigate where is your bottleneck. Because what I can see from assessment, which I provided, and when I ask some similar questions, how you can speed up a test, probably 99% of all candidates don't understood how to proceed with investigation. They don't understood that before start to think how to speed up a test, we need to understand where is our bottleneck, how to identify where is our bottleneck. And in this case, also customer will be happy to have such person, because if you will be able to really improve speed of test execution, or also be participated in some kind of performance testing, it will be a really good benefit, because not so many engineers who also are aware in performance verification understood how to do that.
Do you think that that skill, I mean, performance testing skill, is highly recommended as a secondary one for every test automation engineer?
I think basic knowledge, not a deeper knowledge, because performance testing, it's just really separate area for non-functional, and there are a lot of technical information, technical pitfalls might be here, but basic level. For example, what is the general strategy to identify where is our bottleneck, or for example, from what to start. It should be, I think it should be must have, because in our case, unfortunately, we come to time when we will have a big frameworks with a big amount of tests, and we should understood how to deal with that.
Okay. Katsiaryna, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I totally agree. So the test automation engineer should have like common knowledge in all the spheres, like what about the security, how we deal with mobile testing, but on the higher level. And but to become a good performance engineer, it's like you should spend a lot of time on this, and usually you cannot combine on the higher level boss. So but you can learn as much as you can. And yeah, by the way, from the customer side, they would happy to have two specialists in one person, and they usually ask just general testers or test automation engineers to perform performance testing. Yeah. And because it's just paying for one person, so what is the problem? But the knowledge for this person should be really deep in this case to perform it alone.
Okay, Sergey have something to add?
Yes, thanks for the answers, colleagues. But it's probably I formulated my question a little bit wrong. The idea of my question was like, how do you see the path of to start performance testing when you're a common automation engineer? So as I see it, first we need to take any mentoring for performance testing or Udemy course or etc. Not important. After that, when we feel that our skills are strong enough, we can tell our resource manager or delivery manager that we have some skill level and we are ready to try it on a real project. Is that
I would
correct?
suggest to contact performance organization. We have this competency in our company, and I do know they have some mentoring. And usually after this mentoring, they would like to take these people to their competency or their resources and sell it as a performance engineer. So it's how it works in EPAM. So yeah.
Yeah, and they definitely could evaluate your current level. So if you don't, I mean, feel that you need to this evaluation, you can ask them, and they spend half an hour just to do so. So it's nothing complicated for them in that. Okay, it seems that we first of all run out of questions and run out of time. And we are close to the end of our event. So let me at the end again thank you for thanks say some warm words to our experts. That was, you were fantastic, and I hope for our audience your answers were useful. And let me express my hope to see you on our next meetings and events. Thank you very much for coming and for joining. That's all from that's all from our side, guys. We will proceed our next meeting in I suppose in next month. So I would be glad to see all of you in there. Thank you, and have a nice day, evening, whatever you have.
Thank you.
Thank you
For your
guys. Bye-bye.
questions. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Good day. Bye.